Earlier this morning, I shared with you a line from our church's mission statement. I want to share another one this morning because it's the impetus for our work this month. And it's also a test, all right? Are you ready for this test? Yeah, well, there are no negative consequences for lack of the proper answer, but let's just see how we do. So, there is no chocolate for a right answer either, I'm sorry, so what's the point, right? Yeah. There must be external reward, or I have trained you guys. Oh, man. All right, here it goes. We find the sweet spot between the head and the heart of... Nicely. See, the second half of that was a little less enthusiastic than the first, but at least Jeannie knows it. Thank you, board member. And you weren't even here last week, so here it is. We find the sweet spot between the head and the heart of our Science of Mind teachings. Last month, we spent the whole month talking about the heart. This month, the month of March, we're giving equal time to the head, at really the mind. So we're going to talk all month about minding the mind. The month of March, we're going to mind the mind. The month of March, Michelle's going to mind the mind. Let's see, how many more M's can we get in there? I think that's enough. I think that's enough. So what does it mean? What is the mind? That might be a question that is on your mind, perhaps. So I always go, when I have a question about things, I want to know what Ernest has to say. So I go to the textbook, and in the back, for those of you not familiar with this book, there is a glossary of terms. Now, a little caveat about the glossary. Sometimes it makes the word a lot easier to understand. Sometimes it makes it harder. Just depends on how Ernest was writing that moment. And part of the definition of mind is a little bit complicated. It can be complicated, but it isn't. It's very simple. So I'm going to read you this section that I think is pretty simple, that I really love, Ernest's definition of mind. He says, actually, there is no such thing as your mind and my mind or his mind and her mind or God's mind. There is just mind, capital M. There is just mind, in which we all live and move and have our being. This one mind is all of truth. Capital T, truth, capital T, truth, meaning, that's a whole nother sermon on truth, which I have given not all that long ago. So we're not going to define truth right now. It's just all that is. It is the changeless. It is God, and it is God. Changeless and yet ever-changing. It is good. It is wholeness. That's truth. The one mind is all of truth. That point in God consciousness, which we call our mind, is as much of truth as we will allow to flow through us and bless us. So the point of this is, there isn't your mind and her mind and his mind and their mind and God's mind. There is only the one mind, which is really another way of saying there is only God. There is nothing but God. Mind is a synonym for this infinite presence, this spirit, this life force, this energy of good that we call God. Ernest Holmes also calls it mind. So this whole month we're looking at minding mind, whether it is in the macrocosm, the big picture mind, at the essence of the big picture of God that creates planets, or my use of that mind, my individualized use of that mind, which creates my life, right? Today we're going to look at the idea or the statement of, and we've all heard it, mind over matter, right? We've all heard that. We've all heard mind over matter. And usually we think of mind over matter as simply meaning our ability to create, right? Our mind is strong, and we can create through our mind matter. We can change forms. We can change matter into different form because of the use of our mind. So it's mind over matter. But my question this morning is it really mind over matter? Is that really accurate? If we got deep into these beautiful teachings and into the subtleties of them, is it mind over matter? What do you think? Perhaps the way I'm asking the question will lead you to the proper answer, right? Which is no, it is not mind over matter. But if it isn't mind over matter, then what is it? What might it be? Oh, yeah, but you were in first service, so right, but he does know. And there's no candy involved. Dang it. If nobody else is going to offer it, I'm going to let Craig say it. What do you think? Elaine is thinking. What is it? If it isn't mind over matter, what is it? Thank you. Yes, give Elaine a hand. Yes, give her a hand. And Craig too, because he knew it. It is mind as matter. Mind as matter. It's not mind or God and then form, stuff, matter. It is God in expression as form. That is a subtle difference, but a really important difference when we think of it that way. It actually releases a lot of our work, a lot of our striving to make something happen. If it's mind over matter, I have to have, I have to do this myself. It has to come from me. I have to make this happen. No, you don't. You don't have to make anything happen. We just have to allow mind to take this particular form. Ernest Holmes speaks to this idea in many, 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 many places in his writings. I just want to share one this morning. It's from his book, Love and Law, which is a compilation of lectures that were then transcribed, and the book was published not that many years ago. At page 120, for those of you who have the book, he says, "There is not a thing that appears in the manifest universe but what it is an objectified thought of God or us, whether it is a bump on your head or a corn on your foot or a mountain or a planet. It could not be there if it was not made out of mind. You only get something where there is something to get it out of." Isn't that great? You only get something where there is something to get it out of. Mind as matter. Mind as matter. Whether it's God, infinite macrocosm mind creating a planet or a mountain, or it's you or me creating, and we do, a corn on our toe or a life of beauty and joy. We are creating the matter based on the essence and presence of mind. So I want to give you an example, because that's heady. I know, I get that. That's heady. Like, what the heck? Let me give you an example. Let me give you a down-to-earth example, and a true example of a little girl, 11 years old. Her name was Angela. She lived in San Francisco, and she got a disease. And the disease affected her nervous system, and it affected her ability to walk. In fact, she lost her ability to walk because of this disease. And the doctor said, once you get this disease, there's nothing that can be done, and we'll put you through some rehab to try to strengthen, but you're probably not going to walk. And she just was 11 years old, and she says, "I don't like that. I don't accept that." And so she just really was clear that she doesn't care what the doctor said or what this disease said, that she was not going to accept that. And so she was in a rehab center, and the therapists there were really impressed with her attitude. She just had the brightest, cheeriest attitude, and such a, "I can do this, and I can walk again." And she would work really hard in her physical therapy and do everything her physical therapist told her to do physically. But they also decided that she was a great candidate to use her mind as well. And so they taught her visualizations and how to use her imagination to see herself running and playing and going to school with the regular kids and, doing all that stuff. And so when she wasn't in physical therapy, she was in her bed in the rehab in mental therapy. She was seeing herself as she wanted to be. She was seeing herself moving. And one day she's lying there and visualizing herself moving, and all of a sudden things start to move. Literally, things start to move, and she says, look what I'm doing. I'm moving. Well, everything happened to me moving at that moment. The bed was moving. The ground was moving. Things were falling off the shelves. People were running around screaming because she lives in San Francisco. There was an earthquake happening at that moment. An earthquake happened. This story, which is true, comes out of the very first Chicken Soup for the Soul. There were many Chicken Soup for the Souls, but it came out of the first one, and I just want to read you a part of it. It says, "Now it seems that at that very moment, everything else in the room was moving too, and people were screaming and running for cover. Equipment was falling and glasses were breaking. You see, it was a San Francisco earthquake. But don't tell Angela that. She's convinced she did it. And only a few years after that incident, she was back in school on her own two legs. Because anyone who can shake the earth between San Francisco and Oakland can certainly conquer a silly little disease, now can't they?" In his book Observations, Ernest Holmes writes, the universal creative mind is the same mind you and I are using now. And it is because of the unity of this mind, the oneness, the indestructibility, the eternality, the changelessness of this mind, that we may be certain that our thoughts act in and through this mind in accordance with the immutable law of cause and effect. Therefore, it follows that if we set up a vibrating point at the center of our own thought, receptive to that which is good, to that which is beautiful, to that which is true, we shall irresistibly be attracting that condition in our own environment. And that is exactly what Angela did. It's been said, Mike Dooley says this, that thoughts are things. I've heard others say thoughts become things, but that's not quite accurate. What's accurate is thoughts are things. Same thing as matter and mind are the same thing. There's a passage in our Science of Mind textbook, shows up 3 times, so Ernest really liked it. And he said that trained thought, or trained mind, trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. Trained thought, that's a question that's on the Spiritual Life Coach exam for those of you who are in that class right now. I see several of you taking notes, oh, she's going to talk about this. I'm taking an exam on Thursday night that's going to be in, so pay attention to this, guys. Trained thought is more... Go ahead, turn it on. Trained thought is far more powerful than untrained thought. So I was thinking about how to talk about that a little bit, and it occurred to me I wanted your help. All right, so this is... Michelle needs your help time, all right? So will you help me with this? Thank you. I was thinking about trained thought and how we train our bodies, and the analogy and the similarity between what we do to train our bodies and how that could equate to what we do to train our minds. So your part that you're going to help me with here is I actually have a blank piece of paper and a pen. You're going to tell me... Just shout, or raise your hand, and I'll point at you or call you. Give me one way that you train your body to be stronger. One thing you do to just Bill, what do you do? Okay, and tell me a little more specifically, what do you do? You exercise, but what do you do? Okay, you walk. What else? Okay, good. What else? What else might, Kathy? I saw your. What else might be done in exercise? Okay, good. So, right, frequency. You got to do it on a regular basis. Perfect. Let's go back to the exercise. What are you doing? Yes, Amanda. Okay, so weightlifting. Perfect. So walking, getting the cardio, and weightlifting, building muscle strength. Perfect. What else do you do? Yes. Yoga. Okay, so what is yoga doing for your body? What are you doing? Stretch. What's another thing in yoga that is happening? Very important. Breathing. Isn't that right? Yes, breathing. Good. Okay, what else? I saw hands, but yes, Florence. Flexibility. Good. Okay, more? Back in the back. Diana? Oh, swimming. Okay, so that's another kind. All right, swimming. Water. What else? What else will support your exercise? Tell me what else will support your exercise. Oh, look, yes. Ricardo. Eating right. Good fuel, good nutrition. I like that. Thank you. Yes, Mary Beth. Good rest. Nice. What else, Bill? Okay, yes. To help you exercise? Okay, cool. That gets over to our spiritual side. I wasn't quite there yet, but you're jumping in. Give me one more. Okay, Rick. Repetition. So that's frequency, repetition. Yes, good. One more. Anybody else have anything? Let's see. We have Aaron. Getting the blood flowing. That's walking and running. Yeah, getting the heart rate going or getting going. Yeah, okay, all right. Elaine. Water. Drink water. Yes. Come on, there's one that hasn't been said yet. It was said in first service. I kept their list in case you guys didn't quite get it. Yes? Oh, music. Okay, they didn't come up with that one. That's good. I like it. Music, if you didn't hear that. Meditation for exercise? Okay, I love it. All right, I see. Oh, look at all these hands. Okay, couple more. Ken. Thank you. That is the one I was looking for. I really wanted that one. Thank you. What's that? What'd you say? I did. Oh, that's true. He wasn't. That's right. Yeah, right. No, that's a great list. Okay, so we are probably not going to be able to go over all of those and look at how does that relate to training your mind, but we'll take a couple of them. First of all, this idea of lifting weights to get stronger, right? You lift a weight that's heavier than what you normally would lift, right? If you just lifted a 2-pound weight and that was your workout, you're not going to get any stronger. But if you lift, I love it when I see couples poking each other. Like, I'm not going to say who over there, Cheryl and Glenn. I'm not saying who that is over there, but I did see a poke. Right. If you just lift a little measly weight, you're not going to develop any muscle or strength. You won't be stronger. So you have to lift a weight that's heavier than you might do comfortably. As a matter of fact, you might push yourself a little bit to lift a weight that's heavier than you would normally lift, right? And you do it repeatedly. So what does that have to do with a spiritual practice about making your mind stronger? Could we use that as getting outside the box and perhaps doing something that might be difficult? Oh, because lifting weights, because I do it, it's hard. You grunt and you groan and you sweat and you, and maybe say some words you wouldn't really want to say in church because it hurts, right? You're stretching yourself, which is, by the way, another one we didn't say yet, but that's a part of yoga too, is stretching and flexibility. You're stretching yourself when you lift that heavy weight and you're getting stronger. When you stretch yourself and do something that maybe it's a conversation that you really would serve you to have, but you're afraid to have it. Maybe it's a practice that you've been wanting to do, but you haven't made the time to do it, but you really know that it would serve you. It would be a stretch to do it. Maybe it's doing something you're afraid to do. Really? And I can think for me, one of the most powerfully spiritual things that trained my mind in a huge way was saying yes, or actually I should say saying no to my fear and saying yes to walking on fire. Which I did 5 or 6 or 10, I don't know how many years, 10 years ago now probably. It was an amazing experience. Many of you heard all about that. I won't go into the details of it. But it stretched me. That was weightlifting. Walking on fire was spiritual weightlifting. And it was hugely powerful in helping me train. So lifting weights or doing something that's difficult, pushing yourself beyond your comfort zone is a hugely powerful way to train your mind, to train your thinking. So let's see, we have frequency and repetition. Really important. You can't go to the gym just once. I'm sorry. I know, darn it, I wish you could. You can't run just once. It doesn't work that way. You have to continue at it. And you can't lift do one rep either. You have to do many. So repetition with your spiritual practices, repetition with your reading every day, or your commitment to take a class, or your commitment to be in service, or to listen, or to watch online if you can't be here. Your commitment to repetition, hugely important to helping you train your mind. Hugely important. Let's look at a couple more. Good fuel. Let's talk about good fuel. Nutrition. Nutrition for your body. Your body, if you're working out, needs protein, right? What is your mental nutrition? Your mental nutrition is thinking, as it says in, Paul said, whatever is lovely. Fran can actually quote the scripture, and I can't quote it right now. But whatever is kind, whatever is lovely, whatever is beautiful, think on these things, the Apostle Paul said. That's living an affirmative life. Fuel your mind with healthy thoughts, just like you need to fuel your body with protein and healthy food. Does that make sense? Fueling your mind is critically important. And as you fuel your mind with healthy thoughts, you train it to continue to think those healthy thoughts. You actually literally build grooves in your mind that then you will go down more often than down the awfulizing road. You know that road? You know the road of awfulizing? This could happen, and what if that happened, and then if that happens, well, that's going to happen, and then that's going to happen, and oh my gosh, then that's going to happen, and now I'm dead. That's it. It's over. It's over because that's happened, but you're really here. Fueling your mind with healthy thoughts stops that pattern of awfulizing. amazing. Okay, let's see. What else do we have on here? I love that we said a personal trainer. That's near and dear to my heart because I've physically been using one for the last year, and I love it. Let me change that. I have a love-hate relationship with my trainer. Right. In the very moment, I don't necessarily like him or her, whichever one it is. I've had several. I don't particularly like them because what they're doing to me and I'm causing me to do to me hurts. But I sure love the way I feel when it's done. And I love the strength that my body has. And, I'm going to be 65 this year, and I think I'm in the best physical shape I've ever been because of frequency, commitment, heavy weights, and a trainer who helps me stay on track and who pushes me to go a little farther than I would go on my own. I'll do 10 reps on my own because I'm tired after 10. My trainer will go, oh, no, you've got at least 5 more in you. Let's do it. And I can. So, what is a trainer? How is a trainer? Oh, this one's so easy. Who, me? Or, yeah, okay, good. What else? Personal. Who's your personal trainer? Thank you. Your spiritual life coach is your practitioner. Do you have your own personal practitioner? If you do not, it is time, my friends, to have one. They are so powerful. Our ministers here serve as spiritual life coaches. We call them spiritual life coaches, not practitioners. So if you're a spiritual life coach, practitioner, minister, stand. Please, please, please. These are people who are available to pray with you, to maybe make you a slightly bit uncomfortable, to help you face your stuff that needs to be faced. Yeah, to lovingly give you a little whip, to support you in living. Thank you. You guys can sit down. Give them a hand because they're amazing. To support you in building your mental strength. There are other ideas that you guys brought up, and like breath and breathing is so critically important in physical training. It is also so important in your spiritual work. Drinking water, I love the idea of God being the living water that we immerse ourselves in. Absolutely, but I'll save those for another time and use those. Train your mind. Train your thought, because it is way more powerful to bring into your life that which you desire. You are always creating. Your mind is always powerful, but it is even more powerful to bring into your life that which you desire when you have trained it. And I want to end with 2 things, a quote and then one more story. The quote is from, yes, Christopher. Well, that's one too, but it didn't come up in this service. But it was a good one. It was a good one from last, and it gave me a chance to share. Yeah, I did. So what he's saying is, in first service, okay, here we go. You're going to make me late. Now here we are. It's his fault this talk has taken so long this time, not mine. Something that came up in first service was have a buddy, have a workout buddy. The importance of having a workout buddy. And Lonnie and I are workout buddies, and it's so much fun that he and I go do that together. We've always worked out together, and I love it that we do that, and we, support each other, and I don't want to go today. No, come on, we have to. I don't want to go no, we have to. And, one of us is the, no, we have to, and then we go, and we both feel so good about that. But having a buddy, being in community is what that's all about, and this is community right here. We are in community. And it's very exciting that rolling out in a couple months, we're going to be creating even greater community through our CLF circles. CLF, standing for Creative Living Fellowship, or Care, Love, and Friendship. Circles, where you get together with like-minded souls who can be a buddy system for you to help you lift that weight when you don't think you can, who can help you shift your thinking when you don't think you can, who can love you through whatever you might be going through. We're really excited about rolling this program out. Dr. Bobby is, stand up, Bobby, so they know who you are. But Dr. Bobby has taken the lead on this. Thank you, Dr. Bobby, for that. And we got a lot of folks who are filling leadership roles, and we're getting those plugged in and getting leaders trained, and then in a month or 2 we'll get rolled out. We will roll out these buddy systems is really what they are. So thank you, Christopher, giving me a chance to mention that. It did come up in first service. Okay, so quote and one more story. Einstein, y'all know who that is, right? Einstein once said, everything is energy, and that is all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality that you want, and you match it with trained thought, let me add parentheses, you match it when your thought is trained to match it. So here we go. Match the frequency of the reality that you want, and you can't help but get that reality. It can be no other way. That is not philosophy, it's physics. It is not philosophy, it's physics. It's not theology, it's science. That is the way it works. And even though we know that's the way it works, we know that in our mind, sometimes we're still even blown away at the awesomeness of that. We are taken aback when thoughts are things like that. We have the thought, we see the thing within 24 hours. We're like, whoa, God is so awesome. And it's fun to be in that place of awe and reverence. And I want to leave you with a little story about being in a place of awe and reverence because God is so awesome. So the story of a little boy who is sitting on a park bench reading his Bible, and he's studying, and he's actually in the Old Testament, and he's studying about the Israelites and their flee from Egypt and how they crossed the Red Sea and how God parted the waves and crossed the Red Sea. So he's reading about that. And he reads it for the first time, and he says out loud, oh my gosh, God is so awesome. Hallelujah, hallelujah, God. I mean, he's just so excited about God. Not fun to think somebody could be that excited and not care what anybody else thinks. But somebody did walk along, a fairly young man who thought he kind of, didn't really need God. He was more on the science side. God didn't fit into the picture. And so he wondered, what is this kid saying God is awesome? Maybe he'd have a chance to set him straight. So he asked the kid, why do you think God is awesome? And the little boy, told the intellectual, about how God parted the seas and let the Israelites walk through the Red Sea. And this young man had just taken a course on kind of debunking the miracles in the Bible. And he said, it's been proven. It's been proven. This wasn't a miracle. God's not awesome. It was easy because at that point where the Israelites crossed the Red Sea, it was only about 10 inches deep. Not a big deal. They just waded across. Well, little boy kind of had his bubble burst. He was like, oh, really? So he kind of sat there a little bit sad, but he kept looking at his Bible, and the young man, intellectual, thought he's done his job, so he walked away. And all of a sudden, the little boy goes, oh my gosh, God is even more awesome than I thought. He's even better than I thought. Oh, this is so exciting. And the little boy says, or the intellectual says, whoa, what are you talking about? Turned around, came back. What do you mean? God is even more awesome. He goes, look at this. Not only did God let the Israelites walk across the Red Sea, but he drowned the entire Egyptian army in just 10 inches of water. Thank you. I needed that. On that, we're going to pray because I need to. Because this essence that is God, this thing we call mind, spirit, source, energy, doesn't matter, is actually pretty darn awesome. Awe-inspiring, inducing wonder, inducing the goosebumps of a mystery that is so much bigger than anything I can actually comprehend, anything that we can really wrap our heads around. But in this moment, we move into a place of feeling the awe-inspiring nature of the divine, of mind, of God. And in this expansive awareness, and in this feeling of the awe-inspiring nature of mind, we realize, as it is true, mind as matter, and as I am matter, we are each matter, we are tangible physical beings of matter, but we too are mind as matter. We are God as form. We are that infinite presence of intelligence and love that molded itself into each and every one of us. Beautifully individualized, and yet exactly the same. Perfectly unique, and yet of the one. That is the truth of who we are. That is the truth of me and of each and every one of us. We are matter and mind. Mind as matter. So in the realization of that, I speak my word into that process that God is, which we call the law, which is simply the way in which mind manifests itself as matter. And I speak my word into that law, knowing that whatever is on the heart of anyone in this room this morning, whether it is a dream that is percolating and yet to be brought forth into the form, or whether it's a challenge, a sadness of the heart, a physical issue, whatever might be going on, I know that as we have trained our minds this morning, they are strong. And we are strong creators. And that whatever is on the hearts of each individual this morning, that mind manifests itself as that in their lives. Quickly, effortlessly, in beautiful ways. I accept this for us individually. I accept this for us collectively as a spiritual community, knowing that this body is so blessed that our CLF circles are a beautiful experience for all as we roll them out, as people engage in them, that it is a beautiful experience for all. And that we truly are who we came here to be, which is a beacon of light in the desert, supporting, uplifting, empowering those, many of those who are attracted to us. I'm so grateful for this. I'm so, so grateful. And in this gratitude, because God doesn't care if we're grateful. God doesn't need us to be grateful, but I need to be grateful because it deepens me into a place. It trains my brain to be more accepting. And so in this moment, we are each grateful for the manifestation of this prayer, taking us to a deeper level of acceptance, strengthening our minds that it is already done. And then we take that strengthening one more level by letting go, releasing, letting go of any attachment to how, when, where, what. Simply letting the law unfold, knowing that it does in right and perfect order, divine right timing, and with precision and perfection. So I release, I let go and know, I let go and trust. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.